continue our trek through the obscure ghost films of the mid-80s with House, a 1986 comedy horror film directed by Steve Miner and starring William Katt, George Wendt, Richard Mall, and Kay Lenz. It was followed by 3 sequels. Roger Cobb, as played by William Katt, is an author of horror novels and a troubled man. He has recently separated from his wife. Their only son has disappeared without a trace, and his favorite aunt has just died, an apparent suicide by hanging. On top of everything else, it has been more than a year since the release of his last book, and he is being pressured by his publisher to write another. The same year would then give us Nomads, a 1986 horror and thriller film which was written and directed by John McTiernan and stars Pierce Brosnan and Leslie Ann Down. The story involves a French anthropologist who is an expert on nomads. He stumbles across a group of urban nomads who turn out to be more than what he expected. The freight train of the obscure then takes a turning point where horror sequels began to take a dip in quality with Poltergeist 2: The Other Side, a 1986 American supernatural thriller film, and the secondary entry in the Poltergeist film series. As a sequel to the Poltergeist, it features the return of the original family, who are once again confronted by a spirit trying to harm their daughter, Carol Ann. It received mixed reviews from critics and did not gross as much at the box office as its predecessor, although it was still financially a successful film. It ended up making over $40 million against a $19 million estimated production budget and was nominated for the Academy Award for Visual Effects. The film was also nominated for a Razzie Award for Zelda Rubinstein as Worst Supporting Actress. It was followed up in 1988 by Poltergeist 3. Next we would see The Wraith, an American 1986 independently made action supernatural film that was produced by John Kimmey and written and directed by Mike Marvin and starring Charlie Sheen, as we all know him, Shirley Fenn, and Randy Quaid. The Wraith tells the story of a murdered Arizona teen who mysteriously returns from the dead as an all-powerful drag racing wraith intent on taking revenge on a gang of car thieves and their psychotic leader who murdered the teen so their leader could then exert emotional control over the dead teen's girlfriend using intimidation. We then end things off with the most obscure of obscure in this list, starting with Trick or Treat, a horror film with nothing much to offer aside from rock star cameos from the likes of Gene Simmons and Ozzy Osbourne. It also stands to notice that this does share the name with the modern film from 2009, but they have nothing in common. And then we move along to Witchboard, a 1986 American horror film written and directed by Kevin S. Tenney and starring Tawny Kitaen and Stephen Nicholas. The film focuses on a female college student who is harassed and later possessed by an evil spirit after communicating with it through an Ouija board. Join us next time as we continue traveling down the road of horror.